The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Welcome to the first edition of 2013 of The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu, and we got some great stuff to talk about. Of course, we've been gone for about 3 weeks or so. A lot has happened in the world of sports. Of course, December 21st came and gone. The end of the world is nigh, so we're all good here. Then you also got to look at the end of the world for, well, maybe the World Junior Hockey Team. In terms of way they played in Team Canada, very disappointing. Well, let's talk about anything biblical and biblical proportions. Brian Burke, gone from the Cathedral of Hockey, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Those are Brian Burke's words, not mine. And the firing of Ryan Parent. A lot to talk about here. We'll get to those topics, but first I got to introduce my co-host and the guest for today, Greg Buchanan, CPC radio announcer, of course, the Junior B Bandits GM. How you doing?
Not too bad, Moses. Not too bad. Good holidays.
Excellent. And Jason Newman, the head coach of the Bandits. And I know the reason why I brought you here today, not only because of the first show, but you wanted a chance at Greg Buchanan.
Yeah, I thought he ducked out the last show.
Yeah,
yeah. All of a sudden he got sick, and here we sit.
I got the Newman flu.
Yeah.
So.
And it just so happened I didn't tell him who the guest was until a little bit prior. So it worked out perfectly to have you two. Thanks for coming on. We'll start off with the Lloydminster Bobcats. Ryan Parent, within the new year, was canned. The decision was made by the hiring committee to bring him in. They let him go. Officially, they kind of had everything ready about December 31st around 8 p.m. That's what I heard. Then on January 2nd of 2013, they gave him the pink slip and said, well, thanks for your time here, but you're not needed. Was this a little bit premature? Because you think you got a first-year coach, a team that you only have about, what, a handful of returning stars coming back. Guys that he's had to trade or at least try to bring in, implement his own system. Was he given enough time at all?
I guess, first of all, that was a New Year's resolution, eh? Right? End of December like that. I guess I always wonder what their expectations were coming into the season. I mean, like you said, you have that many guys gone. I just didn't know what the Bobcats management expected to begin with of where they would sit. It's tough as a coach to come in a brand new situation where you don't have a bunch of returning guys and top end guys, and I mean to come in there and then you got to go with your own system, and that's probably a tough road. And I don't think Ryan had it's not like he came from a different junior A team in Alberta or Saskatchewan where he had a lot of connections. I mean, he's coming from BC. Hadn't been coaching in the league before. That's just there was a lot to ask there, and it's too bad for him. And gives Kyle a shot, and he had a lot of success in the midget AAA program. Yeah,
it's tough. He's a rookie head coach, comes from BC, and on top of that, he has to wear two hats. He has to wear the hat as general manager and hat as head coach, and it's tough for an experienced man to do that, to be GM and head coach in that league, and a non-experienced guy, that's even tougher. So, was he given enough time to build that program? Probably not. But at the same time, maybe he wasn't the right man to hire for that position. And that's what it comes down to. Was it a little bit, not the word naive, but the expectations were a little high for a first-year coach who hasn't really coached at the junior A hockey level to come in and expect any type of success early on? Because I think what really hurt him was, of course, the September where he didn't win a game. They went 0-7-1, I believe, to start the season, and that really puts you behind the eight ball. But what was, if you were one of them, if you were the hiring committee, if you were the board, was that one of the decisions to say, you know what, maybe we made a mistake, maybe we should just kind of let go and start fresh now and try to at least try to salvage something here? Well, I think right now, as what they're salvaging, they're looking ahead to next season. As much as they hope to make the playoffs, it's a long shot at best. Right now, they're getting ready for the fall, and they're getting ready to build that team for next year.
They're 9 points back. They got 3 games against Sherwood Park coming up. So even if they win those games, they'll be 3 points behind, but Sherwood Park still has about a pair of games in hand over the Bobcats. So that's still a little lofty. Are playoffs in any question, even though they're slim, a possibility for the Bobcats?
Well, that's what you're playing for. You're always thinking, you just look for what the next step is, which is the 3 games against them, and then you go from there. But yeah, it's tough. Anytime you dig yourself a hole, there's a reason why it's called a hole, right? You're trying to climb out, and it's a long ways to go. And they just got to remain consistent and take care of business. All you can do is take care of business, and then lots of times if you take care of business, lots of times things will start to work out for you. But they got to go in there and win 3. They can't go in there and win 1 out of 3. And we did all right. Like, they got to go in there and win 3.
With Springer being gone too as well, that's got to hurt their chances a little bit.
Oh, huge. He's a good, experienced defenseman in the back end, and to lose him for 2 games at this crucial point of the season is very big. And right now the Bobcats only have to look at it that they take a game at a time. I know it's a cliche, but right now you have to take care of your own business, like Jason said. Don't worry about who's ahead of you in the standings. Just do your game and do it right every night.
Brian Burke got fired. It was surprisingly just days after the NHL kind of solved everything. The collective bargaining agreement was settled. I guess the Bell/Rogers new enterprise decided to go a different way. Was it more so of a leadership thing that he didn't fit their mold, more of a corporate mold, or was it the fact that this team didn't make it to the playoffs in his tenure?
Oh, I think it was a combination, because I agree with what Brian says. If you get a guy that's successful 99% of the time, because excusing Ted Nolan, who was successful and got let go, but most of the time it doesn't matter then, right? But at the same time, I think you're bringing on a new ownership group that has this idea of what our people at the head of it want to look like, and he's, that guy is going to be the head of that Toronto side of the organization for the Leafs, which is a fairly big, broad picture, right? And they want someone that's going to portray kind of what they want, I guess. But
was he unfairly fired, because they now have him as a consultant? They don't even know what that specifically means. He just is told, you're a consultant. Dave Nonis is the new GM. Is this just indicative of the Toronto Maple Leafs? It just seems that they are all over the place when it comes to their corporate system.
Just looking at from the outsider looking into the Leafs, and I don't think Burke's the kind of guy that likes to work well with others, let's just say. He kind of likes to do it his way.
Or teams that are sold.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think he's a guy that maybe the board of directors didn't get along with Brian and maybe didn't agree with some of the things that he did. I think more than anything, I think that it's very bad time to make the deal or make the firing. Why they didn't do this during the lockout is beyond me.
He will be back somewhere as a GM in the NHL, right?
I think he will be. I think he's got enough of a track record and experience that there's going to be teams out there that go, we got to take a chance on this guy because we're going nowhere, and I think he'll get another shot.
It has to be right fit. Like right now they're talking the Islanders. I can't see him going there.
No.
Maybe Philly, something like that. Maybe that'll shake loose.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be interesting to see if that job comes up. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to talk about the Edmonton Oilers, and Sports Illustrated has them ranked 3rd in the power rankings. A little odd, perhaps. We'll talk about that coming up.
I